Is Madam Web really that bad? Let's find out right now. Welcome back everyone to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'll be reviewing Madam Web as I said in the intro. This will be a non-spoiler review, so don't worry about any spoilers. I'm not going to go over any of those. But before we get started, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 600 subscribers. Helps out a lot, man. I'm going to read you guys a quick plot synopsis of the movie just so you know what it is about. Cassandra Webb is a New York City paramedic who starts to show signs of clairvoyance. Forced to confront revelations about her past, she must protect three young women from a mysterious adversary who wants them dead. Before I get really into this review, I do want to kind of talk about the marketing of Madam Web, because the marketing for this movie was just kind of all over the place, and it just didn't make any sense for this movie. And I'll get to my thoughts about the movie, but you can probably tell how I'm thinking about this movie when I'm talking about it like this. But the marketing has been just terrible for this movie, because I've watched a couple interviews. I usually watch a couple interviews for a movie before I see it, just to see how the cast is acting, how they act towards the movie. And I will say, this cast acted like they didn't care about this movie at all. Dakota Johnson literally acted like she didn't care about this movie and acted like she only did it for the paycheck, which I can kind of respect. But if you're going to put a film like this on your filmography, I really kind of feel bad for you for just for a paycheck, because it's a terrible look for you. I mean, she did 50 Shades, but I haven't seen 50 Shades, but I don't think 50 Shades is going to be this bad. But yeah, as I said, the cast seemed like they didn't care. So what's the point in signing up for this? And why do you sign up for a movie like this? If you've read the script, hopefully you read the script before you sign up for a movie. Why are you signing on for this? The script on paper is no way the script on paper looks reads better than it does in the movie. That's what I'll say. So I think the cast just didn't care about this movie, and why should anyone else care? And why should anyone else care to go see it? I mean, I didn't want to go see it. I forced myself to go see this because I got to film a review on it for you guys, for your sanity. And Sony, I will say, Sony did a terrible job marketing also. They released one full trailer. Only one full trailer. What kind of blockbuster releases one full trailer? You need like two trailers or three. And you need TV spots and everything going for that. Sony is terrible at this marketing. The only movies they can market are their Spider-Man movies, and this is not a Spider-Man movie. It does not count. This, Morbius, Venom Let There Be Carnage do not count as Spider-Man movies. If Spider-Man's not in it, I'm not gonna count it. It just takes place in this, off-world kind of universe. That's all I'll say. So the marketing for this movie is already disastrous, and it's just terrible. So, why should anyone care about your movie if you don't put any effort and, show that you care about and want to market it, and the actors want to care about it? No one cared about this movie. And who knows what the budget is? I think it's probably over 100 million, but it's definitely not going to make that back. Sony's just going to be losing a lot of money with this one, just like they lost a lot of money with Morbius. I don't understand it, but yeah, I said in the intro, is it that bad? And I will say it is that bad. I will say this, if you like the movie, good for you. Good for you. You can like the movie. I don't have an issue with that. But I know a lot of people don't like the movie, and I went into this expecting a horrible time, and I expected a trashy movie because of all the bad things I saw and I've been hearing. But I kind of went in a little open on that too, because I don't want to go into a movie hating it. But I walked out of the movie after the credits roll, and I was like, it's worse than I thought. There's no way it could have been that bad, but yeah, it was that bad. So I will say, please don't go see this movie in theaters. I really do advocate for you to see movies in theaters usually, but with this in Argyle, please don't waste your money on this. Tickets can be a lot sometimes, so don't waste your money on this. Just wait till March. We're almost there, 2 weeks away till Dune. Just save your money for Dune. Thank you very much. And I'm going to talk about a couple elements of the movie. I want to talk about the script for a little bit, because the script is honestly really laughable. They really want to be funny with trying to tie into it other characters. Like they got a name drop, Ben Parker, because Adam Scott plays him, then Mary Parker, Richard Parker, and then Mary Parker's having a child, but they won't tell us the name, but we all know it's Peter Parker. It's like, come on, stop playing coy. We all know this doesn't take place in Andrew's universe, Tom's universe, or Toby's universe. We all know it doesn't take place there, and you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do that because you don't want the audience to be more mad at you than they already are. So Sony thought it would be a good idea to hire the writers of Morbius. We all know how Morbius turned out. When was that released? 2021? It was terrible. I made myself go to Morbius after seeing Moonfalls. That was like the worst double feature of my life. Morbius was bad. But it somehow turns out that Madam Web is worse than Morbius. Like, somehow. Somehow, it's like the writers of Morbius just don't know how to write a damn script. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to be rude to the writers. But if you look at their filmography, it's not great. Like I cannot believe how bad it just turned out, because this movie, it could have been pretty cool, but it just wasn't cool. And I do think that the director, I mean, she tried, S.J. Clarkson, but with a terrible script, there's only so much direction that you can really do in this movie. And, before I get to more bad, I do want to talk about one positive. Britney Spears' Toxic has a needle drop in this movie, and I will say that's probably the most fun I had in the movie. It's probably the most fun in the movie. So once you get to that part, I mean, you can just walk out. No, I mean, I'm just saying, that was the most fun in the movie, was the needle drop of Toxic. And I will say, this is a waste of a movie. Sony is literally crumbling their own universe and characters because they're greedy bastards and won't let Marvel take their characters or take over, or won't let Marvel buy it back. They just keep pushing out horrible movies that no one wants to see and they will lose money on. I think that's kind of ridiculous because, they have this, I think they have this right in their contract with owning all these, Sony Spider-Man characters. I think there's a rule where they have to release a movie or be in production of a movie every 3 years, every 5 years, or else the rights go back to Marvel. So they're just pushing out all these horrible movies just to keep the rights. And I will say, I can't really say that Sony is doing, every horrible movie, because they do have the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies and the Spider-Verse movies. But let's all be honest, I don't know how much they're involved in making those. The creators of those are doing the work on those. And Sony is just wanting to build a whole nother universe, wanting to build a whole nother Sinister Six, and no one wants these characters. I mean, you see Morbius, you see Kraven coming out, and you see Venom. No one wants, and they turn these villains into anti-heroes, I would love a Venom movie with a Spider-Man in it. Venom movies, first Venom was okay. And I just got to, then the second one, I didn't really care for it, because I just get to the point where, what's the point in watching a movie about a Spider-Man villain without Spider-Man? It doesn't make sense. So Sony's just making movies for the fun of it, just to lose more money, just so they can gain the money back with the Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. So if you're going to be honest here, they're not making any money. They're just breaking even on all their movies. And Madam Web, it's not going to break even, not going to make any money. And it's releasing the same week as Bob Marley on Valentine's Day. And I will say, Bob Marley is much better in this movie, because I was bored out of my mind in this movie. Like, it didn't take long for me to get bored at the start of the runtime while watching Madam Web, just because I kept zoning out every 15 minutes, just because of how exhausting this movie was. I mean, sure, there's effort put in making this movie, but I don't know how on the cutting floor they don't see just how terrible this movie is going to work and how terrible it's going to flow. And I will say, with all the talk about, Warner Bros., throwing Batgirl in the trash and the Wile E. Coyote and Acme movie, which is kind of horrible, we didn't get to see those. And it makes me wonder, if Warner Bros. Had this movie, would they throw this in the trash? Because if Sony has this movie and they don't want to throw it in the trash, would Warner Bros.? Because this movie deserves to go in the trash. Craven, on the other hand, I'm going to hold out hope, because it's, more experienced writers and directors making that. So we'll see how that works out. But at the same time, why do I want to care about Kraven when there's no Spider-Man in the movie? Why are you making villains into anti-heroes? That's not what they are. Villains are villains. They're supposed to be fighting a hero, which is Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is supposed to have these villains in their movie. But they just want to make these ridiculous movies to keep the rights. And I do want to talk about female superhero movies just for a little bit, because I truly feel bad for people wanting a great female superhero and wanting a great female superhero movie, because, these little girls are growing up and they're wanting to look up to, new heroes and all that. And they kind of do with, Captain Marvel with the Marvels, but that one wasn't great. It was just okay in my eyes. But it seems like they can never get it correct. This is kind of like, it's kind of like just keep happening and happening. And this is from a female director making this, so I wouldn't understand why there wouldn't be more care in this. And the last time I think I watched a great female-led superhero movie was the first Wonder Woman, because, after that we've had, Birds of Prey, which was just okay. First Captain Marvel, just okay. The Marvels, just okay. Wonder Woman 1984 was bad. So yeah, the last great female superhero movie I watched was the first Wonder Woman, and that felt like ages ago. When was that released? Like 2017? Like 7 years ago. It's ridiculous how hard it is for them to make a great female superhero movie, and especially when you have this cast. Like, I do want to kind of talk about the cast for just a little bit, because you have a great cast. You have Sydney Sweeney, Dakota Johnson, Isabella Merced, Emma Roberts, Adam Scott. And it's ridiculous how you have such, a beautiful cast, but they just can't do anything with them. And it feels like they're all just giving no effort. But I feel like that's something to do with the script, because Adam Scott is in this. He plays Ben Parker, and they're trying to be funny with that. And every time I saw Adam Scott on screen, I just wanted to rewatch Severance season 1 to get ready for season 2, because that's all I thought of when I saw him was Severance, and I was like, oh my god, Adam Scott, you deserve so much better. And I will say, Tahar Rahim plays the villain Ezekiel Sims, which is kind of an off-brand Spider-Man. That suit looked atrocious, by the way. I did not care for his performance. As I said, I don't know if it has to do with the script or it has to do with just his performance, but I did not care for his performance. Dakota Johnson, she seemed like she also didn't care, just like in the interviews, so why should I care about this movie? It all rubs me the wrong way. I don't like trashing on movies too much, but after seeing, Argyle and then this, I just get worried for how movies are going to turn out, especially with these big budgets. I don't know how you can't hire better writers for these movies. It's just ridiculous. The CGI also looked a whack at times. So I'm feeling like February is just worse than January. And how's that make sense? Usually January is the worst month of the year. We got to keep pushing, 2 more weeks until Dune Part 2, 2 more weeks until March, and that looks a little bit better. But overall, Madam Web it's worse than I thought it could have been. It's a messy, clunky movie with a terrible script. It's worse than Morbius. It's worse than, Venom movies. It does nothing to reinvent the female superhero movies. The cast seemed like they didn't care. VFX looked choppy, and the ending was honestly just laughable. So, Madam Web, I'm going to give it 1.5 out of 10. I think it's worse than Argyle. It might be the worst movie of the year. So I'll tell you this, just save your money this weekend. Don't go see any movies. If you're going to, spend some money, go see Bob Marley. It's at least a little bit better. But Madam Web, just... I get so angry and start laughing when I talk about Madam Web because it's just that bad. But, let me know. Did you guys see Madam Web in the comments? What were your thoughts about Madam Web? Did you like it more than me? Did you have the same opinion? Let me know down in the comments. If you did enjoy this review, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.